Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Okay, let's start off with Chanel for a minute because Chanel said something that pissed me off. It pissed me off because in this episode, they give two examples of a Me Too moment. One of those examples is terrible. Let's just put it this way. The other one is a work contract. I don't know exactly how to sit there and pronounce it, but she is obligatedly contracted to do something. Okay, so when she sees Ray and she talks about, what did you do to my mother and stuff like that, and the whole Me Too movement and everything like that. But then she brings up, oh well, you wouldn't want me to sit there and tell my sister that you had me do something that I didn't want to do, have another Me Too moment. And I'm like, wait, no, stop. Just stop. Because that's the part that pissed me off. Okay? It's one thing with what Ray did to Paulina, and then we found out later on what he did to Beth. Okay? Not just putting hands on her, but threatening to ruin her career if she reported it. That is a Me Too movement. That is a Me Too moment. Her sitting there saying, well, I don't want to be in your movie anymore, and if you try to force me to, then it's going to be another Me Too movement. That pissed me off. Because basically what you're sitting there saying is you're literally, I don't want to sit there and say watering it down, but you're trying to put something in a Me Too movement that isn't there. Okay? He didn't bully you into doing something. You literally signed a contract saying this is what you're going to do. And the only thing that he's doing at this point is basically holding you up to something that you agreed to doing. Okay? That is not the same thing as what Ray did to Paulina. And the fact that she came out her mouth and said that, I, I don't know if this was an attempt at Days to sit there and be like, hey, listen, we're relevant to the causes and things of that nature, but it did not work. It didn't work with that little comment. It didn't work. Okay, I remember they tried something with GH not that long ago, and granted, that was a Me Too moment. What that slimeball of a doctor did to Kiki. But her saying that, it just, I don't want to sit there and say it spat in the face of every victim who's had a Me Too moment. But in some ways, it kind of was a slap in the face when you really think about it. I'm liking the new Will so far. Will came in there, and Will came in with all the smoke for Johnny. Okay, first of all about the Chanel thing, um, and then the Marlena thing. The fact that he was still making this movie regardless of the fact that it was going to hurt Marlena's career, and he didn't like it. He literally didn't like it. He came at him. And granted, Johnny, threw in a couple of cheap shots. Johnny Oblo threw in a couple of cheap shots. It didn't stop him from, voicing his opinion. Um, Now, more or less, I think that's when Chanel came in there, and Chanel was talking about her Me Too movement or Me Too moment that again just completely pissed me off. Um, she talks about that, and she's all up in his face, and Johnny's like, "Listen, if you drop the lawsuit, then I'll get you and your girlfriend out of my damn movie. All right." It's cool. Now at the same time, Bella comes in. Now Bella was, Bella's with Sean and talking about vacation time and stuff like that and getting away. And Susan comes in acting like a weirdo. And, she's all like, oh, you're possessed by the devil, this, that, and the third. And she brings out a cross, and the cross doesn't work. And she's like, all right, I'm just going to retreat for now, and I'll be back later on. I'm like, Susan, you are something else. But you know what? We're dealing with the devil that turns people into cats. So, no offense, but how threatening is he? You know? I mean, I get it. It's soap opera, so we kind of got to keep things from the lighter side. But I'm like, the only thing you actually plan on doing is turning me into a cat for a little bit. All right, what else? Now Bella comes over because Bella was sitting there talking to Sean. Bella comes over and she's like, she talked about Susan Banks and everything like that, and feeling the devil's presence. Now halfway through the conversation, she was like, well, the devil passed out of me, and it could have passed into, and looks at Johnny like, oh, and right then and there, Bella knew. So when she tried to fake it, like, oh well, listen, I gotta go. Kind of got some stuff to do, like work things and whatnot. So I'm just gonna just kind of, leave or whatever. And Johnny Diablo grabs her hand, like, "Yep, you know too much." Oh, Bella, 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 Bella. How long has she been on this show for? She's like she's been on the show for quite a while, actually. I think it was one of those things where it's like Kristen Storm was Belle, and then she left and she shot over to GH, which was much needed because the woman who was playing Maxie before, oof, wow. And I do like this Bella. I know some people would disagree, and well, obviously you kind of got used to the Maxie version or the Kristen Storms version, so I completely get it. But for me, I'm liking the switch, so it's working for me. Um, I don't know. I couldn't see Kristen Storm playing a lawyer. I'm not saying she's like stupid or anything like that. It's just I don't know. Her whole fashionista thing just kind of works for Kristen Storm. Anyway, so obviously Bella knows too much, and what was her name? Chanel. Chanel. Um, how am I gonna sit there and say? So Chanel comes back because Chanel's like, listen, why don't you just talk to her for a little bit, and when you're done, I'll come back and we'll finish this up. When she comes back in there, she realizes that Johnny's on the floor, and she's like, "Oh, Johnny, you okay? Whatever." Um, when Marlena comes to the door, because Marlena was with you talking to Ben, and Ben was with there telling her that Belle, might be the devil, according to Susan. So Marlena goes to the house for some odd reason instead of going to. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I don't exactly remember why she went to the house, but anyway, she went to the house, and Bella answers the door. You know, Obviously at this point now she's actually possessed, and you can see the eyes and everything like that. So we're just gonna sit there and drag out the story even longer. Awesome. So that should be interesting. So Lonnie and her ever-loving, amazing moves in the morning. I get it, you didn't have your coffee, but Jesus Christ, you might want to just kind of tone that down. You do realize that you are married to this man, right? Um, After she tells him that, she was hanging out with Ray, talking about, oh, they eat the same type of food in a certain way. He's like, oh, that's great. And she snaps at him and he apologizes, but I'm like, I don't think you need to really be sent to snap at him. Like this man has, you know, I think from my understanding, like he's dealt with that before in the past with his mother and some terrible, awful, disgusting human um used to hit his mother. So he's dealt with that firsthand. I don't think that she should be sent to taking it so lightly. but I understand where she's coming from to some extent. She's very conflicted. You know, she wants to get to know him, medical history for the twins, and just has a general curiosity. But at the same time, she feels like she's kind of betraying Paulina and everything that she's went through. So it's kind of it's a very gray area. Um, and Eli's like, yeah, by the way, I've been investigating him. And she gets upset. She's like, oh, so you don't trust me? He never said that, but this man is a wife beater or a woman beater. So, like, yeah, he's going to investigate him. After you talk a little bit, she kind of realizes, trust but verify. So she's like, all right, do what you got to do. Because she's like, oh, I'm surprised, you didn't tell me. He was like, yeah, well, I didn't tell you, but I'm doing it. So, but she's like, listen, I mean, he's like, listen, hopefully I don't find anything for your sake. Hopefully he's changed his act. Now, clearly this man has not changed his act. And here's the thing, I knew that there was, you know, he was obviously going to be, hmm, I knew he didn't change his ways. I just didn't know to what degree. And again, to be fair, I always kind of sit there and look at those situations like once you feel empowered to sit there and do what he did, I don't really feel like there's a forgiveness. I mean, yeah, you can atone, you can sit there and live your best life and amend and everything like that. But for me personally, yeah, I just no. Um, Turns out he's talking to the local dealer and he's getting his supply and stuff like that. He's talking about just gonna be my, home operation, my base or whatever, and so he hooks on with something extra this way. He can get him to come as fast as you want, and kind of get that loyalty or whatever. Um, there's a reason. I was gonna say this. There's a reason why people kind of pay a little bit higher, but in his case, he's a scumbag, so at this point, it doesn't really matter. Um, Anyway, this deal is taking a lot longer than it should take, especially in broad daylight. But sure, whatever. uh, so after that happens, he's approached by Eli. Now Eli was talking to a woman named Beth, and who is next girlfriend. I mean, who is Ray's ex girlfriend, and she tells him some stuff that's not good. I guess that's his latest ex girlfriend, and apparently he didn't stop using. He would still sit there and hit her. And, even though she didn't report it to the cops because, she didn't want to lose her career, they did document it the last time that she was at the hospital. So with that being said, he's like, listen, let me just come back in the official statement and, we can kind of just make sure. Because he tells her, yo, listen, this guy is in my life now. My wife, biological dad. I want to make sure that he's on the up and up. So after that, he's, I guess, walking around. I don't know how he actually found him, but coincidence, he finds him. Now, Ray sees that he drops the white stuff or whatever on the ground, and he's talking, and, obviously he's talking. And he did ask Lonnie, if they can all do dinner and stuff like that. Lonnie's like, let's not talk to my husband. I'll get back to you. And so when he sees him, like, hey, just, thinking about, talking to Lonnie and stuff like that and seeing if we all want to sit there and grab some dinner. And Eli's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Um, and, Ray's like, well, listen, listen, if it's about the hours and stuff like that, I'm pretty flexible. And Eli's like, yeah, not for long at this point. And he's like, yeah, I talked to your ex-girlfriend, Beth, and, well, let's just sit there and say she was telling me some stuff that really is not going to work out in your favor. And as they're walking, he sees the white stuff and he picks it up and he's like, huh, what do we have here? Now Ray starts to act like, oh, I don't know, like he looks at it like it's not mine. I don't know how you found that. At this point, he pretty much kind of got him dead to right. Now, if you saw the promos, you know exactly what was happening. And now, I want to kind of talk about that for a little bit because if you saw the promos again, you know what happens. And my whole thing is like, is this going to be an Abe situation? I see this playing out in three ways. Either he's going to be in a coma for a little bit and then come back within a week, or he's going to be in a coma a lot longer and they're kind of going to shelve his character for a little bit and then maybe he'll come back when he wants to or they need him or whatever. Or they're actually going to sit there and kill him off. And I'm going to be completely honest, the character doesn't really seem like he does much for me. I mean, with Brady, he's annoying and he's an idiot, but I can sit there and talk about him. You know, I can sit there and talk about some of the stupid stuff that he's done. And I remember reading a comment, and somebody was saying, you know, it'd be a real shame to sit there and have him go because, you know, he's one of the only really good characters on the show that doesn't really have any dirt or any baggage, just never really done anything, you know, anything that's like shady or anything like that. And I kind of look at that and I'm like, that's not exactly a good thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good thing for just being a human being, but as far as being a character on the show, makes him a little dull. Don't get me wrong, I'm again late to the party. So if he was doing any shady stuff, any interesting stuff, this all happened before I started watching it. But as far as I've been watching this show now, I haven't really done anything too exciting. I haven't really seen him do one thing that I can sit and be like, oh man, I remember Eli this episode and he was doing this, he was doing that, he was funny and this, that, and the third. It's like with EJ, he's kind of a shade of gray. It's like with Eli, it's like, bro, you kind of don't really got any. I can't sit there and say that he does anything that's really interesting. Um, so for me, I mean, if the character gets killed off, I'm not like losing any sleep over it. It's like it was stuck. Don't get me wrong. Um, but I haven't really. You know, it's one of those things. It's like if he was gone, I can sit there and be like, well, I miss him because he did, and he did, and it was that one time he did. I got nothing. Feel free to fill in the blanks for those. Think about your favorite Eli moments. And please write in the comment section so this way I can kind of get a good idea of this character. And there's a whole point where Alice and they're talking to Will about everything that happened, why she's so upset with Johnny, and now she's talking about she feels confused. And I just kind of sat there and I was like, now this chick is talking about she feels confused. You you agreed to go out with this man after you kissed this woman twice. But you're like, no, 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 just a little thing. And then he proposes to you and you accept it. You weren't feeling confused then either? Now this whole thing came to light. He practically kicked your ass to the curve where you belong, and now you're just like, I don't know, I feel confused. I I don't know about her. I really don't. It's one of those things where it's like, unless it's sit there and say, for whatever reason, she was feeling confused. Might have been something she'd have probably talked to Trip about, but even if that was down the line, it still doesn't really account for all the crap that she's done up until this point. Her snicker saying that she's confused now, it's like, okay, whatever. Listen, whenever you have your moment in any point in your life, that's on you. When you bring somebody into that set of life, like Trip, and you're kissing other women and stuff like that, you might want to sit there and kind of be like, maybe we should kind of pump the brakes on this whole relationship thing until I can kind of figure out more on who I am and what I want. Right? That might be an idea. You know, I mean, here's a really great guy that you just lost because I don't know. I don't know. The chick is an idiot, to be honest. So I don't really have much to say about her. Um, but clearly I have more to say about her than Eli, so there's just a whole nother problem. Not gonna lie, I kind of feel like that's about it. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know check those out in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.